Okay, you feeling rested?
Oh yeah, I crashed after coming home from the summit. I was actually just so wiped out, like everything, just all the adrenaline went away, and I got in bed on Sunday night, and I slept 9 hours. How about you,
Oh,
Pete?
yeah. Same. I think, it's one of those things when your body, and I've seen this all through my life, and I'm sure people listening can attest. When you know you've got a sprint, your body goes for it, right? And then you finally give it permission to kind of chill. And you either sometimes I get sick even, but you either get sick or you just sleep and whatever. And then you get real tired. But all that to say, it was, and I know we say this every freaking year,
Yeah,
every
but
freaking
this
year.
this forget what we ever said in the past. This one was the absolute best summit we've ever had. So number
Mm,
one, completely sold out. Over 420 people in the audience and 50 people on the damn wait list. We've never had a wait list that deep. And
yeah,
that
and
was a
that's
typical.
because there was a fire marshal thing with that room, right? There was a capacity issue. Yeah.
And I
So,
think the most important thing, like I had my dental intel rep Ryan reaching out saying like, "Hey, one of the doctors that I know is forgot to register 3 of her team members, and is there anything you can do? Can you please squeeze them in?" And it's just, it was crazy. We've never had a wait list that deep, but the energy was amazing. It was super rewarding for me. I know it was the same for you, but one of the cool things was having like 60% or greater of the audience being team members. So hygiene, office managers, assistants, that was a little bit of a surprise for me. I didn't expect it to be that big of a team event.
I did. I did.
Well, of course, you know everything.
Shut up. But like, we push for that, right? And it's built for docs and team. I think it's one of the only conferences in dentistry that focuses on that. And to be honest, but I was thinking about that as we're sitting kind of at this on, throughout the weekend, that in my life, the big inflection point when dentistry got fun and a lot more effortless and very sustainable, meaning you have this point where you're like, I could do this forever. It was when my team got aligned, right? And they took the heavy lift, and I thought I was the only one rowing the boat. And when you finally kind of tell your team your goals and what you expect and what's in it for them and the triple wins and all the things, right? Here's where we're going. It's a heavy lift. It's taken off of your shoulders, and I like seeing that evolution because honestly, that's where I see the magic happen in dentistry. I mean, Craig, how many times have we seen the lone wolf? And I know I've been using that term a lot, but they are good and they can grind for like 10 years and then they're just
Yeah.
burnt out because it's all on them, their shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my biggest takeaway from the summit was this, and we have the unique purview of seeing inside of a different portion of dentistry is that the most common theme, at least in the Bulletproof group, is doctor cares a lot, team cares a lot. Team needs doctor to kind of get out of the way so that they can do all the things that the team really is capable of doing. So all the breakout sessions, all the private
Mm-hmm.
conversations are like, really about like, hey, we got the doctor's back. We just need to get a little bit of freedom. We know where he wants to go or she wants to go. We just need to get behind the doc. Can you please help me, help my doc get out of the way? So it's very reminiscent of what you and I went through.
Mm-hmm.
In
Yeah,
fact,
you
I'm
you
going
start
through it right
becoming the
now.
bottleneck,
Yeah.
and right, you set out to create an autonomous organization, and when you don't, you're like, what's that? What? No one cares, and then eventually, when things start to click, or you start deploying things that get you there, then you honestly then become a little bit of an impediment because you're so used to choke holding things, right? You're
Yeah.
used to being inside everything, inside of all the decisions and all the process and all the things.
And by the way, Pete, this is not just a dental thing. Like talking to
Yeah.
Randy the other day when he was talking about, literally yesterday was talking about like he went on that trip with his that billionaire buddy, and they were talking about how many thousands of employees they have. There is something that we get trained initially in business that we have to be the nucleus of everything. We have to be the ones who hold the charge for the entire organization. But there is an inflection point, and the sooner you can realize when that inflection point happens, the better. So what happened for you and I is that we did not realize we had autonomous running businesses, and we overstepped and overshadowed the existing people. I mean, you
Correct.
witnessed a very uncomfortable conversation on Thursday before the start of Summit, where it's like my team is like, you haven't been in the office in weeks. You come in, you're like a tornado of energy. We got this. It's disruptive to have you around. And I know you were taking some level of personal satisfaction, like watching me go through what you went through. It's like, welcome to the club, buddy.
Yeah. The other thing that I think was really cool was we got to do a lot of stories, and we got to see a lot of mastermind commonalities, right? We brought some of them on stage and saw, and I sensed an overall theme. It was like, basically when we find them or get introduced to them, or they become masterminders at day one to now, right?
Oh yeah.
And it was, we found it, and it's like, I can't do this. I'm done. I'm burnt out. I'm drowning. What do I do? It's crisis mode to now fast forward to what the stories were heard. It's like, my life is great and I could do this forever, kind of thing.
Yeah. Dr. Darren specifically from stage is like, I went into mastermind. I couldn't do another day. I was just figuring how can I get out of this whole thing, to now I'm like, I want to grow a building and expand and mentor other doctors. So yeah, the renewed purpose and passion. I think that's my biggest takeaway is dentistry. We're hurting, and I know you had a common takeaway. So we really need an ethos of support. We need team needs to get behind the doctor. Team needs to give the doctor a little bit of grace. Doctor needs to give the team a little bit of grace and recognize we're playing a team sport, and you don't have to feel so alone. And then the greater macro is that you've got a support network like Bulletproof to lean upon. And there was a lot of first time summit attendees at this event. We asked people in the beginning to raise their hand if you've never been to a summit. It was probably, what do you think, 30-40% of the room never been to a summit, never listened to a podcast,
didn't know who the heck we were, which is like, okay, well that's awesome. I mean, awesome. And like, oh wow, like, were you drug here? Like,
yeah, they were drug here. Yep, that's true.
Anyway, and my other takeaway was that I was having a discussion with my family yesterday, and the idea of leverage came up. For whatever reason, we were signing on some loan documents and my kids were like, what are you're not just paying for it? And I was explaining to them, like, leverage is the thing in our life that creates freedom. It creates happiness. It creates net worth. It creates, like, you have to seek out leverage in your life. And so from a Bulletproof perspective, Craig, I believe that we give dentistry a lot of leverage, meaning that the team is ultimately the lever in your practice. Yes, there's knowledge, and there's learning things that
strategy, knowledge, hacks.
Yeah, you've never been taught in dental school, right?
Sure.
And never been taught in, but you're assumed that you know it, kind of thing, as a business owner. But like, right, the leverage is really creating a vision, deploying leverage to that vision, and then getting support. And like, lo and behold, like, everything kind of feels better in your life because of that, right? Like, you get more time, you get more freedom, you get more money, you get more happiness. It's like, oh wow, this is the way it was intended.
Yeah, I mean, that's business. Business is that. I mean, you can either use machines if you have a manufacturing plant. You can buy if you have a car assembly plant, you can buy more machines. But dentistry, being that it's so AI resistant and it's not going to be displaced, it's because it's human capital. So what do we have to do? We have to leverage our human capital.
Did you see that post, by the way? There was someone talking about dentistry being AI resistant. I know I've probably been beating that to a dead horse. I even talked about it in
Did you send it to me?
Yeah, it was someone on Twitter that was talking, like, they're like, dude, I kind of just realized that dentistry is like a very AI resistant industry. I'm like, no shit.
I know. Right? I mean, look at our legal documents. It's so incredible. The legal advice you get on any of the AI models is really crazy.
Legal, like, dude, you can upload. I was actually searching for a new training app, Craig, last night, because I'm kind of inspired to get back at it.
Training, like physical training?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I mean, after you did like a 4-minute hold time on the pull-up bar, you felt inspired?
Yes. Well, ironically, I'm not actually. Anyway, So I was kind of looking through perusing apps, and like there's one great app that everyone likes. It's called Ladder. But then like I was doing more research, and people were like, hey, just take a picture of yourself, upload it to GPT, and say, hey, give me a 30-day plan to accomplish this goal with a meal plan. And I did it, and it was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
What did it tell
Right.
you?
So like,
It was
and that
really
was
good.
a lot of my presentation, Craig, was teaching people how to use AI to their, not just in their business. Yes, there was a lot of business applications what I was doing, but like just become better at getting a better answer, right? A better result. You know, I had a breakout session that was on that. And I'm excited, honestly, for next year too, because there's such a demand with AI. Like dentists are hot on it. You know, I love seeing, especially our, you know, bulletproof type dentists are hot on AI because they see the technology arbitrage, if you will.
I see it. I mean, look, I mean, all those call center positions that we have can be redeployed towards patient facing, you know, support. And I don't want to look at it's like a race to the bottom, like cutting teams out. I actually think we'll have the same number of team. I just think we'll redeploy those assets that are manning the phones at this point to forward facing concierge type
the
people.
patient experience, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
we've always said, that's the great differentiator of what's going to make a practice good or great or mediocre or great.
Yep.
It's going to be how you made people feel at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So what was your big takeaway? Like, what did you walk away with from the summit?
I walked away more certain than ever, honestly. Like, you know, to be honest, Greg, in 2018, like Bulletproof was kind of an experiment, right? It was kind of like we had our first summit in 2018 and it was fun. And then, you know, like fast forward and you see, I'm just more certain than ever that dentistry needs community like this. And I know that's kind of thrown around, but like a supportive community. And I always say this about, you know, and I know we talk about our mastermind a lot because it's the bubble in which we live, right? But I always say, like, if it's not ours, like get in a community where there's authentic lift for you, where someone next to you is rooting for you and wants you to do better and vice versa. And you're leaning in transparently with them and just get in some kind of community, because without that, I don't believe that dentistry is a very happy profession when you're isolated. And I see that time and time again. I was not, you know, when I mean, shit, that's how I reached out to you, right? It wasn't because I was like really trying to give you kudos. It's that I was alone. And I didn't have any dental friends that would understand shit, man. You know, and I was in a dark place. And so I'm just more certain than ever that this is good. This is good. And this is sustainable. And this makes our industry that we love much better. And we get to play a small role in whatever that looks like.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I that was a major takeaway for me, like the certainty of like, this is really needed. What backed that up was leaving the summit and going to dinner with you or the family in the evenings at 7:30, 8 o'clock and seeing groups of Bulletproof attendees with their teams with notebooks out, with a, you know, Domino's pizza box and a bunch of water, and just everybody with their notebooks out, strategizing and working. Typical dental summits that I've seen, it's like 5 o'clock, people run for the bar. We actually had to kick people out of the room. Like, it was like, okay, the room's being shut down. There were so many groups, independent groups, both on Friday night and Saturday night, working into 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. It was really inspiring. Well,
it's just, it's a weird thing, Craig. Sorry, I'm stepping on you there. But like, you know, 90% of dentists will go to CE, right? We all know this funny thing. They go to CE, they learn something, they get excited about something, and then they come home, but no one shared that with them. So it becomes no one cares. Well, that's not really the case. No one got the experience. And that's why you and I have pushed on that so much, is that like, bring them along your journey so you can get weigh in. So therefore you can get buy-in, and therefore you can get results. And, and we did push that, like, right, use this time. It's not often that you guys have time. If you brought your team, it's not often that you have time outside the office, right? Not before work, not after work. Everyone's tired. You traveled away from your geographic location. You're in this beautiful setting with a lot of energy in the room. Use this time to create clarity.
Yeah. Action. Yeah. Create action from it. So you know, we were very intentional. Listen, after 8 summits, we really refined the process down to not cover, drinking from the fire hose that might have been like maybe 2 years ago, where it's just so much stuff. This is like, let's get home on Monday and have an action plan. Because even if you only pick up 2 or 3 or 4 things, if you have an action plan around them, that's the key. And we had the team was so fired up. I talked to, Elon has been to 3 summits. He's like, my team is freaking out. We already registered for the next one. Mimi's been a masterminder for like 6 years and like telling us like, thank you for, taking the practice from 600 grand to 2.7. It's just incredible, and by the way, Peter, at the end of this summit, a lot of people were coming up to me like, hey, I want to get some one-on-one coaching from you and Pete. And obviously we can make that happen. We can do that for you. But I told the person, I said, listen, by the time you take into consideration, and there's only so many hours in the day, Peter and I, travel expenses, coming to your practice, including a piece of the upside that we would take, it would be like literally $250,000, $250,000 to do something like that. It's just, that's why you and I had to rack our brains to figure out a way to reach more people. And, that's the whole intention behind the mastermind. I know the mastermind's been incredibly successful for people, but it also allows people to have the power of the peer group. At the end of the day, if I tell you, hey, Pete, I'm going to lose 5 pounds to get muscular, like, yeah, go for it, bro. High five. Talk to me like when it's done.
Mm-hmm.
But if you tell that to like a group of your friends that you work at a CrossFit, it's an accountability loop because you see them so much. And also the mastermind just frankly works better because it's that, number one, that accountability, but also it's a more affordable price point so people can get in there. And I just want to make a quick plug for it. We still have a couple spots left.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's like 2 or 3 spots left that are open to the general public. We re-enrolled just everybody that was there that wanted to be there. We got them in, but I want to just make this announcement. It does close by the end of the week, but you have an ability to still jump into the mastermind. And I'm telling this audience that is the biggest no-brainer in dentistry. It's $3,500 a month. But if it was 10 grand a month or 15 grand a month,
well,
I
we
would
know
say,
some of those companies that actually charge that, and they're
hell
not.
yeah, jump in at that price.
Right.
Because it's just the biggest no-brainer in dentistry, in my opinion. So
I would agree. And Greg, year one, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like maybe you're right. Maybe he's right saying that. Like after 6 years of data points, you're
right.
Oh shit, you are right. Like
yes.
when you play full out, when you come in, you lean in to a curriculum and a community, the magic starts. That's when shit gets real. Magic starts happening.
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing, so the 2 things actually. So believe it or not, we are so on the ball now, Craig, finally after 8 years, that we actually have registration for 2026 open. You know how many people registered from that event? Close to 200.
No, I have no idea.
Close to 200.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
At pre-registered. So almost half the room is already registered for that.
By the way, Pete, registration's been open for probably 4 days.
Yeah.
Right.
So
we have 200 registrations in 4 days. So we're going to hold about 500 or 600 next year, hopefully.
Craig, that's a great question. I don't know. I was so in the blinders on just for this one, so I forget the specifics of the contract signed for the Phoenician in Scottsdale.
Yeah. So August 4th and 5th, correct? The Phoenician.
Yes, it's on. It's actually on. It's live now. Bulletproofsummit.com. It's live again.
Yeah, that's great. And just for those that have reached out to me. Those that reached out to me and reached out through either the Invisalign reps or the dental intel reps or the people that I know in common, just register now and bring your team. You must bring your team. We are so aligned with Summit that we, more than ever, we've always had the 10 times guarantee. But if you don't collect in the following year after attending Summit, 10x what you spent, we'll give you your money back. That's how confident we are. So get in on it. I know it's far away, but let's get some traction around it so that we don't wind up with an 80-person wait list again next year.
Well, yeah. The other thing too is, I have to say I'm very excited about the next gen of dentistry. Like there were a lot of young men and women dentists in the office. In the conference, and just really, really bullish about it. It's really cool to see. one thing that you and I have tinkered around with, oh, do we start a DSO and do we do this for Bulletproof and all the things, we've kind of tiptoed around this for so many years. And so I want to kind of talk about something that I've put up on the website, because I really feel very passionate about this. And I've done this in my own ecosystem, Craig. And that is something called a Bulletproof Launch Pad. So if there's someone out there listening, and this is where you and I created the video in Aspen around this. And there's someone listening to this that's like, look, I know I'm destined for greatness. I'm a thoroughbred. I'm ready to run, but I've got a lot of student debt, or B, I have no life experience with growing this. I know what I want to do. I just don't have anything. Then this is an opportunity for them to hold hands with us in kind of an ownership situation, right? You and I can act as the mentors, the financial acumen, and really help kind of guide things. But it's really a nice way because it gets, as opposed to, it's the inverse, I think, Craig, of a DSO. And where I am from that is DSOs buy more of you over time, right? They want all of it. This is actually the opposite. It's you titrate your ownership up over time, right? To get more and more, because you're the one doing the heavy lifting. But in the beginning, you need us more. So it's a really cool idea. Like I said, I did this in my Blue Ridge location with a husband and wife, and they bought in for a small amount, what they could afford, and then we kind of grown, and they've grown up over time. So I've gotten diluted, and they've gotten more equity over time as they need us less and less.
I like that you pointed out it is the exact inverse of the DSO.
Yes.
The DSO, the act of moving to a DSO is like obviously the act of resignation.
But like you and I could never wrap our heads around like how, like, remember how we were always like, like bulletproof, everyone's always like, y'all should do a bulletproof DSO. We couldn't wrap our heads around like, how does the dentist win in this?
Right,
it's crystal clear how we would win, right? But how does the dentist win? And I don't want there to be, it become I don't want to be more of the same of what we kind of are thinking is badly pervasive in our industry, which is the rolled up and the this and the, and the, all the things that we hear about, the horror stories we hear about. So I was like, what's the inverse to that? But also, like, how do you get someone who's in maybe a horrible associateship, or maybe has a horrible practice that doesn't know where to go, right? Or not horrible, but you know what I'm saying? Floundering. But they know that in their heart of hearts, they are this thoroughbred. They have the gumption, the energy. They just don't have the know-how, or maybe the financial awareness or financial resources.
Well, look, if the ethos of Bulletproof is helping independent dentists stay independent, and this team never saw opportunity, it fits perfectly into that thesis of how do you get the person who's like, I can't do this. I can't take that step. So let me just kind of squander my time here. So it meets people in the middle. I want ownership. I want to run something. I want to be the lead. I want to be responsible for my local, but I just need a little bit of support. I don't want to take the whole thing down. It's perfect.
Yeah. And you kind of mentioned the strength to strength thing with Arthur Brooks, right? I think this fits in, and maybe you could just to explain that to the listeners, but like, there's phases in your life where you're like, phase one is kind of your grind. And then phase two, when you're in your 50s is kind of like the give back, the coaching, the mentoring, things like that, right? But time is a valuable resource still. So it's not like we can do this for free, right? There has to be a scorecard. And so there is, I think this just is really, I will get behind this mission very well, because I see you can do good by doing good kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in many ways, it's a graduated form of the mastermind. The mastermind will help you grow. Obviously, we're gonna increase profitability in your practice at minimum 30% on the top line, and hopefully grow the bottom line even more than that. But at the end of the day, if we don't have some sort of contractual obligation with your practice, you can't get our DSO level pricing on the aligners, right, for example.
That's exactly. Thank you for mentioning that.
So yeah, we can't. Peter and I have been very blessed to have really good industry relationships, and because we can pair our practices together, both the Atlanta Dental Spa and Spodak Dental Group, we can save significant cost. If you are a mastermind,
software, insurance, supplies, all the things,
all that stuff.
Yeah, we have an arbitrage of that for sure.
So all we can do, and I'm saying all we can do in mastermind, is still great, because we can actually lift your practice by 35%, but we can't help you save on that aligner cost. But with this, we can get that
because there's no corporate, because there's no what's the line?
Well, the reason, I mean, to make it dumbed down for the listener, if you have to write one check,
Yeah.
So you have to write one check to Acme clear aligner. You couldn't write Peter's check and my check. So it's like the size of the check is what it really comes down to. So if there were in the Launchpad, the thesis would be that your supplies would come from one place and the pro rata share would go to the office. So if you buy 2% of the supplies, you get 2% of the bill. But yeah.
You know, and there's also like an economies of scale for supplies, yes, but there's also like a lift on enterprise value. And bear with me for a second as I go through this, right? Something attached to a Spodak Dentistry or Atlanta Dental Spa invariably has more of an enterprise value because it's now not a solo, it's attached to a multi. And we know, I feel like we've taught EBITDA all along, and people know at this point, like a single office gets a single value location, right? Because it's isolated, it doesn't have all those things. But when it's attached to a bigger ecosystem, that's why DSOs do roll-ups, is because the more you have, there's a lift from all of them getting more valuable. And so there's definitely an enterprise value lift for the person listening to this as well. So anyway, enough on that. There's a ton of details. If you go to bulletproofdentalpractice.com, look for the navigation at the top that says Launchpad, and it's a simple form to fill out and see if we're a good fit.
Ideally, by the way, if you really want to, secure your positioning here, because we've got to make it fun. It's got to be good for you guys and it's got to be good for us. And the first step in a working relationship is common values and likability. So if you feel compelled, drop a video like, hey guys, it's Dr. Becky. And the reason why I want to do this is this, and the other thing. We're at the point in our lives where we'd want to make it fun. And we have over 200 practices that we've taken through the mastermind, and we've seen the growth that we can provide. But at the end of the day, you got to be willing to do the work. We have to have a values and ethics fit. So if you're the type of person that we think we'd get along with, and we'd meet up and explore the opportunity, and we'd go with it. But one thing I will mention though, Peter and I are at the core dental business people. And like we said in the prior podcast with Clifton Cameron, if you have a 3 or 4 operatory practice, there's really not an opportunity to scale a business like that. That's just, you've built yourself a job. Nothing wrong with that.
Without the ability to expand is what you're saying.
Yeah, you need that ability to expand. I'd say at minimum, for you and me, it's probably an 8 operatory practice, ideally up to 12.
Or the ability to get there.
Yeah, like your condo. You have a condo and you can blast through the wall and take over the chiropractor or the accountant or the lawyer that's now being disrupted by AI, take over his space.
So, I'm excited, Craig. I'm refreshing a lot of the kind of looking at the curriculum right here to my left, and there's a lot of new things. Right, it's not the same old curriculum every year. As we learn things, we deploy things into this curriculum, and it's exciting because it's a new gen starting September 1. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the pathway, Craig, right now. I'm like, man, AI disintermediates many things here in the next 12 months. Oh, that's what I was wanting to say. So in the summit, obviously I was saying dentists are very excited about the AI, about AI. So next year, as Bulletproof is always evolving, right? There's going to be a tech workshop the day before, an AI tech workshop, where there's going to be industry experts. There's going to be some workshops on how to deploy it in your practice, your personal life, right? Because I only got an hour. Actually, I got even 45 minutes. And I literally said to everybody, Craig, I said, everyone break out your phones, to record me, do a voice memo, because this thing is going to go fast and you guys are going to get confused. You're going to need to listen to what I'm saying again, because I'm going to have to move fast in order to get you guys content. But in a full day, I feel like we could take someone, and shit, that's 12 months from now. So God dang, can you think of the amount of things? Shit, we're going to be on GPT-8 by then, right? We're going to have AGI by then, right? Like everything's going to be completely different from what we're talking about right now. And I want to bookmark that and say,
don't you dare make a hologram and make me go on stage with your hologram. I'll be super pissed.
I might do that. I might do that. I would probably be better as a hologram.
Don't be silly. You're great.
But you can imagine, right? The speed of advancement in this field is going to be just incredible, and almost to the point of scary. And that was my kind of takeaway for the audience was like, don't put your head down right now. Don't put your head down and ignore this stuff. If you don't know it or it feels intimidating, pay for some services, pay for Grok, pay for ChatGPT, commit every day to doing an hour or half hour a day of just task and learning how to prompt, learning how to output, learning how to create projects, learning what an agent is, because this technology can either augment your life and your practice, right? It's the information arbitrage or technology arbitrage, or it can render you, I wouldn't say obsolete, but it can render you at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, it's basically those who are not going to use this, embrace the technology, will be completely handicapped. It's not to say that you can't do it, but you're running, you're operating on a very inefficient platform for sure.
Yeah. You know what I thought would be a neat thing is like a coach, right? Like a virtual, an AI coach, but it was you're in my voice or someone else, like some way to just sit here and talk to someone like, hey, what do you think about this? And it's got a custom code base loaded that's like being Craig digital avatar is kind of talking
Well,
to
look,
you.
you did that LLM from all of our podcasts, and like I've prompted it like, hey, I'm Gavin, Craig Spodak's son, and I didn't do well on this. What would you tell me? And it was really eerie how good it was.
Yeah.
Craig always says blah, blah, blah. So it's pretty freaking cool.
Think of it. It's got 300 hours of training on the shit you say. So
I know.
Anyway, bud, we'll wrap here. And so the takeaways from this pod, get in community. If you're not going to join Bulletproof, do it somewhere.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to a summit, come try one. I guarantee it's the highest energy in dentistry. I said that over and over. I've never been to one where it's like, we have Tony Robbins, DJ Cello there. Just the energy is good. The people there are are thoroughbreds in themselves, even the teams. It's just a great place. So try a summit. If you haven't done it, try one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I would go so far to say that just register your freaking team, because the amount of people that I hear to say, I just wanted to try it. I've been listening to you guys for years. This is my first summit. I'm like, did you bring your team? No, I just want to dip my toe in it. And then halfway through, like, damn it, I wish I should have brought my team.
Right.
So yeah, no, I would just go full in on that. But also just to make a quick plug for those that are wanting to do it. We have a few spots left. Bulletproofmastermind.com. Literally the biggest no-brainer in dentistry. Even if you just register and want to speak to 3 or 4 people that have gone through the curriculum, we'll set you up with that. Don't take our word for it. Biggest no-brainer in dentistry, bulletproofmastermind.com. Don't wait, because I always hear, by the way, it's just not the right year, because, I don't have the hygienist, I don't have the extra room. It's like, come on.
I want to wait till everything's perfect until I join. Like that's actually the time that you definitely don't need it. You need it when you're the shit show, the startup.
Yeah, you want to find out there's a sliding glass door in front of you before you collide your face into it. I'll just wait. Just want to wait.
All right, buddy. I gotta say, you were really awesome to watch. Like your superpower is definitely. I didn't even bring it up much this time, Craig, but like the term dental whisper is so true. Every time I see you in public and leaning into people and just on stage, it's awesome. Your authenticity of really wanting to lift people and help get them out of pain, if there is some, is remarkable.
Thank you,
really
buddy.
is. I think I spoke less this summit than any, because I was able to just sit there and kind of like, you were in flow, and I was like, all I can do is mess this up. Like there's no value I can add, because you were in your flow, and it was really cool to watch. So you're the Tony Robbins of dentistry, buddy.
I wouldn't go that far, but I appreciate the compliment. It is funny. Someone came over to me, a guy by the name of Ricky. I think you know him. He works in Atlanta, and he's like, dude, I just want to let you know, I listen to every podcast. I've been listening for 8 years, but like, you are a very different person on that stage than on the podcast. It's pretty funny. But and listen, I wouldn't want to do it without you. So not to make everybody feeling uncomfortable with this bromance talk, but you bring so much value organizationally, and where I'm not strong, you're strong. And that's kind of what we've created in Bulletproof, Peter and I, is in micro, the ethos of what we're talking about. Like, just backfill in your areas where you're not dominant with team. And the most beautiful part of business is where you all come together, utilize your zones of genius, and work together in flow.
Yeah,
and that's what
like
dental
that.
practice
I
can
like how you're ending on this. Actually, I think like you should be well-rounded is the biggest crock of shit we've ever been taught.
Such a crock of shit. It's dentist as CEO. Dentist as CEO.
Dentist as CMO. Dentist as CFO.
Right.
Like, do it all. Dentist as amazing marginer. Create these margins and do root canals.
Right.
You can't do root canals. I do root canals. Like it's fraught with just making us feel shitty about ourselves. And so our contention is I tried to be well-rounded, Craig, for so many years. And a culture index will tell you that I am not well-rounded by any means. Right. So the well-rounded is a myth. Don't be well-rounded, but find your superpower, triple down on it, and then hire for your weaknesses. That's about it. Find the people.
And last part, get way the F out of the way.
Once you figure that out.
Once you figure that out, let go of it entirely and apologize and just say to your team, it's going to be a hard habit to break. And the better your organization gets, and Peter and I are living proof for this, once you set out to build a fully autonomous business, there's another challenge that lies down the road. They don't want you around, which I had never understood. Like for me, it was like, how do I not be the nucleus of everything? How do I get out of the way? How do I get people to care? And now new challenge comes in. How do I just not bother people now? What am I going to do? So good news is Peter and I have a lot of free time at the particular moment. So that means it's all doubling down into the Bulletproof ecosystem. So for you, the listener, get ready. A lot of new stuff is coming. Good stuff for you.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll see y'all next time. Over and out.
Thanks, people.